Naruto is by far one of the most famous and influential animes of all time, and its success comes primarily from its excellent characters, the big epic battles, and of course, its filler. Wait, what? I'm sure that all of you who are true Naruto fans have watched the almost 300 filler episodes of the anime and really enjoyed. Am I right? Wink wink. But did you know that there's actually more filler? Wow, that's awesome, right?
Are you freaking kidding me?
We are talking about the OVAs, or original video animation, special episodes available only in its domestic format. This means that, in theory, the only way to get them is by buying them directly from a store, rather than watching it on the TV like the rest of the show. Just like renting a movie from Blockbuster. Remember that? Ah, the good old days. This is why these kind of episodes tend to be so obscure to most of the fandom, since back in the day it was really hard to get a copy of them outside Japan. Yet, this exclusivity means that your audience will generally reduce to your most loyal fans, who will willingly go through all this trouble just to get a copy. This allows the creators to go wild and do more risky and weird things, and therefore why the OVAs tend to be so different than your usual filler. And before you ask, since this type of episodes aren't aired, no, they're not on Netflix, and no, they're not dubbed, so if you wanna watch them, you will have to read. Okay, now let's be serious. Most of you are probably not very excited about the fact that there is more filler. I mean... But even so, just thinking that one of these episodes might be as good as Kakashi's True Face, or that they might better explain something about the lore, is enough to get you thinking, well, maybe I should give them a shot. Why not? Just to then see that there are 14 of them, and well...
Let's lower the prisoner into the hold! Right there! Bring her down! Keep coming! Keep coming! And there!
But don't you worry about that, because we are here to analyze every OVA ever made. We will show you which are the good ones from those that should be burned. Welcome to Searching a Good Filler. In each video we'll be judging a specific OVA based on two things: if it's entertaining, and if it expands the lore in some significant way, exploring a character, better developing a plot point, etc. That being said, let's not waste any more time and let's jump into the first OVA. Find the four-leaf red clover. Released in 2002, this chapter is located chronologically in classic Naruto, just before the second season starts. So Zabuza is dead, but the Chunin exams didn't take place yet. We're talking about the shortest OVA of all, with a script that surely revolves around a villain and his 2 or 3 minions who have an evil plan that nobody cares, and wait a second, where are the filler tropes? So yeah, this mini chapter decided not to present us a great adventure in new places with characters we never knew. Instead, it decides to focus on telling a small and self-contained story using elements already developed in the first season, primarily Naruto and Konohamaru's relationship, among other things like the danger that represents the area of the Chunin exams. This is very important, because the time that the usual filler used to waste introducing elements to the spectator that he doesn't care, since they are not relevant once the filler is over, here it is used to go straight to the point. Let's take the beginning of the OVA, for example. So everything starts with Konohamaru asking Naruto about some kind of exotic clover in the village, a red one with 4 leaves. It is said to be magical and that it can make any wish come true. So the Hokage's grandson wants to give the plant to a girl he likes in order to gain her affection. In this whole interaction between these two characters, the episode never actually stops to introduce or explain why there is such a confidence between them. but that's because we don't need an explanation. We understand the friendship that exists between Naruto and Konohamaru, so we already see this sequence as something natural, as an event that could easily happen any day in the Hidden Leaf Village. All of this is possible because the show had previously built this dynamic in the canon, so the OVA doesn't need to stop to explain anything. Instead, it can just focus on moving forward the story. This quote-unquote tactic allows the plot to advance in a pretty fast way through its different parts, and this is where we started to see what probably is the biggest virtue of the whole episode: its quick rhythm. The script almost never stops in any given point. In fact, quite the opposite. It's always moving somewhere and keeping everything fresh and new. It goes from here to there all the time, keeping the attention of the audience. This essentially means that before something becomes monotonous or boring, the OVA has already jumped to other point in the story. To better understand this, let's move forward into the plot. So, to find this weird clover, both Naruto and Konohamaru will have to adventure to a dangerous place named Akagahara. Thank you, Kakashi, with the Japanese voice. This is where the Chunin exam used to take place in the past. Here, once again, the OVA doesn't waste a moment in explaining why this location is abandoned and dangerous. Because the sheer mention of the place of the Chunin exams is enough to anyone who has watched Naruto to understand that there is nothing there but troubles. Furthermore, when Konohamaru and Naruto are about to grab the clover, they accidentally activate a trap that is about to kill them, only to then be saved by the rest of the Team 7, Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi. Again, the OVA never gives enough details to understand why these characters are suddenly appearing to save the day. But I'm not saying this because I think there's something wrong here, like we're facing some kind of Deus Ex Machina or something. On the contrary, I think it was a good choice, because it's expecting that us, the audience, knows what is Team 7 and how its members are trained to look after one another. Thus, the OVA is able to keep its rhythm constantly fast, since the things that need to be explained were already introduced in the canon. We are dealing with one of the few fillers that actually make use of its extra content nature. It takes loads of elements from something established before, rather than just using some characters and then creating a new story that no one cares with tons of boring information that will not apply once the filler is over. That being said, keep in mind that by praising the OVA's quick rhythm, I'm not saying that the fast pace is something per se positive. I mean, skipping key parts of a character's development or neglecting to properly explain the rules and lore of your fictional universe can severely harm the audience experience. I'm looking at you, Game of Thrones! If you do this in a story that is mostly new to the public, like a series whose characters we never seen before, or a movie whose universe is unknown to most of us, you'll only achieve to confuse the spectator. But there lies the difference between that and this OVA. Here's where we can fully understand this filler's merit, since it isn't just grabbing well-known elements of the show, but also using them as a way to save time. It can focus on the story it wants to tell, knowing that it's dealing with a spectator that is already familiarized with Naruto's characters and universe. But there's something more going around here. Like, you could argue that sure, all of this helps to keep the rhythm fast, but what about the actual plot? Shouldn't we slow things down a bit so it can be fully developed? My initial answer to that question was,
But if it's a Pink story, what did you need to understand?
But after thinking quite a while, I came up with a better answer for that. The important thing here isn't just that we are watching a rather short and simple story, but one that sounds very familiar. Take a look at the ending, for example. After all the troubles he went through, Konohamaru finally managed to bring the clover in almost one piece. Yet his initial wish didn't come true. The girl did at the end abandon the village. But like in any good story, this isn't what really matters. It's true, the clover seems to have no real effects, but the girl now admires Konohamaru for his great deed. And so she kissed him, just to immediately say goodbye to him, knowing that she would not see him in many years. It looks like a sad ending, but Konohamaru is nonetheless happy about it anyway. He seems to appreciate that brief love story, although it didn't end exactly the way he expected. And I think there is a lesson here. Experience things even when they turn out the wrong way or the unexpected way. It's actually part of our growth as persons, no matter the age. There is value in attempting things just to then fail. Yes, I know, it's cliché, we see it 1,000 times, but watching Konohamaru accept this frustration in such a healthy and positive way regarding something as important at that age as is discovering love kind of makes the episode for me. I don't know, it might just be me, but I'm sure most of you have started watching Naruto when you were close to, if not already, a teen. A time when we were changing dramatically our ways to relation with others and ourselves. Hence why I think that teaching this lesson to a general young audience is a good thing, showing just another way in which art and media can affect our lives in a positive way. This type of kid romance stories that are short and simple and have a bittersweet ending is probably something you already seen or read somewhere else. Maybe it was a random episode of your favorite cartoon or something they made you read at school. And there lies the reason why this story seems so familiar. Cliché, yes, but that place couldn't be earned if it wasn't something here that just works. The truth is that there are elements here that we might very well experience in our own lives. Maybe your little brother asks you to help him find a magic object that is quote-unquote magic cause some other kid said so, or he asks you an advice to impress the girl he likes. The thing is that there are pieces in these always repeated stories that never gets old. Something that we all in some way experience through our lives, no matter the time or age. And in this case, it brings a nice lesson how to deal with a part of it. So what else can you ask to a 10 minutes long episode? I think by now it's clear that I recommend this OVA for how entertaining it is, plus its nice little message. But wait a minute, is there something here that actually improves the canonic plot? Something that helps understand a certain part of the general story or affects the lore in a meaningful way? And the answer is no, with an ellipsis. I did said before that developing a character in an interesting way is enough to consider that filler as a sort of quote-unquote enhancement to the real canon experience. And this OVA does that. We are witness to one aspect of Konohamaru's inner growth. But let's be honest, is this really important? I mean, it isn't like this character has a significant importance in the show, at least in the short term. We also never see him using this lesson of love later in the canon story, nor ever showing his emotional skills to, I don't know, help someone with his relation or something. This is a simple story that just gives a bit of flavor to a secondary character, but neither in a decisive nor important way. And seeing that Konohamaru suffers a small case of being a damn child, I can understand why many of you wouldn't tolerate an episode whose main focus is just this character. But hey, apart from that, if you're looking for an extra story of Naruto that is both short and fun to watch, this is probably one of the best options. For real. Unlike the majority of the filler out there, here you won't find yourself wasting time with boring new characters and long plots which are probably badly copied from the canon show anyway. Maybe you won't find this as entertaining as me, but I can assure you that you won't want to rip your eyes while watching it. So, in filler standards, this is a pretty promising start for the OVAs. To be honest, I suspected something far worse, but in the end I like it a lot more than I expected to. Let's see if the rest of the episodes can live up to these standards. For my mental health, I really expect so. And that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. I'm so sorry that this review was longer than the actual OVA itself, but it is our pilot episode, so there is a lot of things to test, to improve, etc. If you want more videos like this, stay tuned because we will be releasing the next chapter analyzing the second OVA as soon as we can. We will also be reviewing other stuff like video games and movies, so subscribe to the channel, that way YouTube will let you know of our content. Don't forget to like and comment, it helps immensely to get us out of the bottom of the list and make the algorithm recommend our video to more people. Before leaving, I want to thank the other partner by accident who did all the editing of this video, among other things. Without her, this video will be 100% worst. And that's it. See you on the next video. Bye.